Hey everyone, thanks so much for tuning in. We're going to take a look at an upcoming release from Custom Knife Factory. This is the second collaboration with Philippe Georget, and it is the Fif20, or the smaller version that they released the Fif23 about 6 months ago or so. This is the smaller version, and it's a knife that I've been excited for, and even I have been hyping this knife for a while. So I did get it early. We won't talk about what unsavory methods I had to resort to, but I did pay for it. It is mine, and I do plan on keeping it. So let's get this one open here and show you guys what it ships with. The Custom Knife Factory padded pouch. It comes with a kind of a hard card, a certificate of authenticity. It does come with a bunch of extra hardware, including a pocket clip and a new pivot, which is great because this is, at least as of right now, kind of a limited production run, as most of their knives are. So you know, when it's gone, and hence the extra parts are almost necessary. Well, they are necessary. So anyways, so here's the smaller version. Let me grab Big Brother here, the Fif23, so you guys can kind of get an idea here as far as the difference in the size goes. Let's go here. So we've got the very large Fif23, we've got the new Fif20. I'll pull out a few other size comparisons, but let's jump into the specs here, and then we'll jump into kind of the why and why I'm very excited about this knife. But we do have a blade length of about 3.35, give or take, handle length of about 4.5. Overall, looking around right about 7.8 inches. Now, it does have a 3.5 millimeter or 137 thousandths thick blade stock, and again, I don't have the specs for the Fif23 in front of me, but it is quite a bit thinner. Where's the Para 2 here? So here it is next to the Para 2, and it is, yeah, it's thinner than the Para 2. I think the Para 2 might be 4 millimeters. Either way, it's thinner blade stock, which again is pretty cool for most of you guys, and the thickness behind the edge is 0.02 inches. So again, the thinner blade stock, thinner behind the edge, it slices very well in combination with that full flat grind. Handle thickness is coming in at around 5.6. It is not necessarily rounded, but it is machined in such a way that you kind of have a higher part in the middle, and we have some wide chamfers on the side. So even though, what is it, 6.57 sounds pretty thick, it certainly doesn't feel that way in hand. Now this one, there are going to be a few different versions. This is the one, at least mine has M390, zirconium, and a shredded carbon fiber. There is going to be like a super premium, like Damasteel and Timascus and shredded carbon fiber. That one's going to be over $1,200, so that one's going to be pretty pricey. This configuration is about $580, and again, that's pretty pricey for a production knife as well. But again, as I just mentioned, M390 steel, weighs around 4.6 ounces. It is a front flipper, and it does utilize a liner lock that does have a stainless steel insert. Pretty cool. They got that in on kind of a thinner liner lock there. 3D sculpted clip. Zirconium bolsters that have been given a matte finish instead of the, where'd it go? Instead of this high kind of polish finish. So, you know, a little more everyday carryable. Zirconium backspacer, and then a lot of anodizing on the titanium parts here. So everything matches as far as the liners and the pocket clip. But anyways, so I've almost been obsessed with Philippe Georget and his designs. It started out at Blade Show 2019 for me. There's another collector, Bloomin' Blade, I think he's on a podcast. Anyways, he had a beautiful custom Philippe Georget. It was a Fif20. It was carbon fiber, and it had titanium bolsters, and it was a liner lock, and it was absolutely stunning. We were talking in the pit, and I basically sat there and fondled that knife for about 30-40 minutes straight. Really didn't want to give it back, but it wasn't for sale. I was out of money, and if you want to try to buy something that's not for sale, you better be throwing stupid money at people because he really didn't want to sell it, but everything has a price. So anyways, not suggesting you go and bug him to buy his, but if I had stupid money, or if I was in that position, I would have thrown stupid money at that knife. So I've just been absolutely obsessed with the fact that Custom Knife Factory is doing the collaborations, because their fit and finish and their quality is very high for production knives and for even custom knives, really, but also their prices are kind of a bit high. I'm okay with that. It's still less than table price, which on something like this would probably be to the tune of $1,200 anyway. So it's coming in at less than half that, as a production, but it still has about 95% of the magic there. Now, let me do a few other size comparisons real quick here. We've got the Kershaw Dividend right here, and we have the Para 2, of course. So that should give you guys a pretty good idea of what we're looking at here. Now, just for giggles, do have two other size comparisons that are also Custom Knife Factory knives. We've got the Snafu 2.0, which is pretty legit, and then my friend's Rotten Designs Evolution just came in. I'm giving this one to him tomorrow, so I'm not sure it's going to get a video, but anyways, there's a not so useful size comparison. So anyhow, as far as how close is it to the Custom, it's very, very close, to be honest. I think the Custom, it had a little bit more in terms of maybe like rounding, some of these edges. The spine had some maybe a little bit more chamfered. It just felt a little more massaged, but I think this is 95% of the way there. It's definitely close enough to make me happy, and it lives up in my head to my own personal hype that I bestowed upon this knife and the collaborations in general. And again, it's just a lot more carryable size than the larger version, the Fif20. So, in terms of fidget factor, the 23 here just has an absolutely incredible just glass smoothness action. It's a larger, heavier blade. The polished zirconium feels amazing. So in terms of kind of like a fidget factor or like an oh wow or gee whiz, this big old 23 really kind of gives that uber premium feel. But with all that zirconium and being such a big knife, obviously it's not as carryable, which is where the 20 comes in here. It's definitely more carryable. It's still very, very impressive, but there is a kind of this difference between the two, where this one doesn't quite have the oh wow factor in terms of like, this is a little bit nuts, this is a little obscene. Anyways, so that's that. Let me give you guys some macros, because I've been rambling for quite a bit, but just felt like there was a lot that I had to get out there. Hand rub satin blade. There's the Philippe Georget logo. We've got the matte finished zirconium bolsters here. You guys can see the mating with the kind of the titanium liners underneath. Model number, blade steel. Some nice cutouts here for the lock bar, and it is very smooth. Now this one didn't come with any Loctite. So after I was flipping it for a little bit, it did start coming loose, so I immediately Loctited the pivot. Again, just for you guys who'll be getting these in March or thereabout, just keep that in mind that yours may not come with any Loctite. So if it does start getting loose, grab a little bit of blue Loctite, blue, not red, and that'll get you square. So now another cool thing, you guys see the screws in there. The bolsters were attached internally. That gives it just a little bit nicer look. The carbon fiber, we've got the screws, from the front. Would have been nice if they could have done those internally as well, but the black screws on the black carbon fiber, not a huge deal for me. Now, one interesting thing is this does have a little bit of detent play. I don't know why it has detent play. The big brother here certainly does not. Things rock solid, but it it's only pushing in when I'm coming up with, you know, pushing on the flipper. There's no play, and it opens perfectly. Perfect amount of kind of detent tension on this thing. So, but anyways, that's kind of an FYI. Another guy who got one early also has a little bit of detent play. Some of the other ones don't. Again, more of an oddity. Doesn't make or break the knife for me, but FYI. Look at the jimping there. Very fine, very grippy. Makes it very easy to open. So, yeah. Let's look at the pocket clip. Goes into my jeans really well. It does want to catch a little bit coming out since that's almost a 90-degree angle on the back side. But, you know, again, it's fine. Not the perfect clip, but it works very, very well. And it has a good amount of spring tension. So, centering, there's zirconium backspacer, lock up. 25-30%. We got full contact with the lock bar there, so that's good. And then internally, there is a fair bit of milling, which hopefully you guys can see here to try to reduce weight. Again, zirconium is a heavy material, so balance point is right. Let me see, where's the balance point? It's right about here, so I'm not all the way up forward. I'm a little bit further back. Again, zirconium backspacer. So ergonomically in the hand, it is comfortable. It fits perfectly. Some of the edges in here they're not sharp, but they're not rounded off either. So that's kind of the main difference between like the custom and this one, is some of those edges were just massaged a little bit more on the custom. So again, that's why I'm saying it's about 95% of the way there, but really smooth. So, and then on top here, again, that jimping that's used is the front flipper, you know, grips very, very well. So, you know, in terms of front flippers, there have been a few front flippers that have come out in the last few years. They are picking up in popularity. Some people think they're a fad. Some people think that they are a more elegant way to open the knife rather than having a, you know, a protruding flipper tab like, oh my gosh, I just have, here we go. You know, some people don't necessarily like a protruding flipper tab like on the Snafu 2.0 here. And so the front flipper is a more elegant way to accomplish the same thing, but again, have a more streamlined appearance. So I personally really like front flippers, especially when they're this well done. They're very, very easy to open, and it is a more streamlined design. So I don't necessarily think they're really a novelty or a fad. I think they're around to stay. And this is one of the best production front flippers that I've ever handled. And again, at the price point, it had better be. So anyways, that is the Fif23. It lived up to my own personal hype. I think it's a very true execution to the custom. Now, if anyone cared what I thought, and I got to make, or my ask, let's say my ask for Custom Knife Factory is, continue to make this model. I think it really deserves to stay in production, and Custom Knife Factory typically does limited production runs, but I would say continue to make this model if at all possible. If anyone cares what I think, give me a nice stonewash blade, you know, give me a true user, not hand rub satin's beautiful, but again, some people are a little bit scared to use them, myself included to an extent. Give me a nice titanium bolster, give me a titanium backspacer, and let's just make one that's just a pure, you know, same level fit and finish, same high quality, but let's make an even more user grade one, see if the price can come down a little bit too. And that would be my only ask for Custom Knife Factory, is continue to make it more everyday carry friendly, and make it cheaper if at all possible. So anyways, guys, these are coming out in March. Their website is FromRussiaWithKnives.com. Hopefully you already have your notifications set up and you have an account and all that stuff ready to go, so when they do drop, you can grab one. And I think that most of you guys will be quite happy with this thing. So There's the Fif23. I originally thought when I got this one that I'd get rid of this one, but I found a way in my head to justify keeping both. So more videos to come. Thanks for watching. Follow me on Instagram. Take care.